welcome back. Been gone a little while, but I have got my next review for you, like I promised. I'm even working on a 6-song roundup, which I've got a few more tracks to listen to, and then that'll be up within the next day or two. On the 15th, we have got Iceland Kill's new album, so that'll be coming out probably the day of, if not the day after release. So, all good. Did slack a little bit, but we're getting back on track. If you're lucky, that 6-song roundup may even go up today. So, with that being said, remember, if you like what you see here, please subscribe, drop a like. Don't forget to check out Cornish Rebels Gaming and follow me on Twitch, Raven7131. Probably going to be going live today. Actually, we're live most evenings, playing Warzone, getting fucked over, so yeah. Okay, self-promo out the way. The review. Let's get straight down to it. So, like I said, today we are going to be reviewing the 7th album by British rockers Asking Alexandria, see what's on the inside. So, if you don't know, this is the first record they've actively been in the studio together as a band since about 10 years, which, through my calculations, would roughly be the Reckless and Relentless era of their stuff. So, yeah, that's why you can't feel much passion in a lot of their newer projects. It's because they don't have the same magic. Like, you know what I mean? When a band's in the studio together, it's special. They can feed off each other's energy. They can riff together, like work, flow, tweak things. But when you do what they were doing, and you go into the studio one at a time just to get your part done and over with, it's gonna make things a lot less passionate, a lot less energetic. You're not gonna feel the love. But with that being said, during that time there were some diamonds in the rough. And we don't talk about the Black Album because fuck Dennis. Just a little thing of mine. So, the album runs for an annoying 40 minutes and 3 seconds long. The 3 seconds is what I find annoying, but I'm awkward. So, with a little bit of the backstory done, the runtime done, let's get into the tracks. So, See What's on the Inside starts off with an intro track, which is a slow, gradual build-up that flows seamlessly into your next song, which is the lead single, Alone Again. Now, Alone Again has a great set of guitar work. Like, Ben is showcasing what he's known for. He's like, guys, you forgot I'm good at guitar. Fuck you. See what I mean? And Cameron on the drums. I think it's Cameron that's drums. Yeah, I think it is Cameron that's drums. Having a bit of a brain fart there. It's doing great work as well. And what I really like about this song and throughout the entire album is it's cohesive. You can hear Danny, but you can also hear the rest of the guys on their instruments, and you can hear it all like holding hands together and just elevating the sound a bit more. But with that being said, Danny's vocals are much better on this album as well than their last album, Like a House on Fire, which was a dumpster fire, if I'm being honest. As a fan of Asking Alexandria for a long time, owning every single album they've put out to some degree, apart from their like really early material, which is hard to get a hold of. Yeah, it's probably my worst album for them. Followed closely by The Black, mainly because it's not Danny. And yes, I am a Danny Warsnop fanboy, if you want to call it that. Like, I don't know. It's just something about the guy that I like. I find him to be quite an engaging personality. But with this song, the chorus of "Bring me hope, take me home, I think I'm ready to be on my own. Close my eyes, lay me down. I think it's time that I take some time to be alone again," hits nicely before each new verse, and it just like it just like really accentuates the rest of the song because of how the chorus is done. It's like very powerful, but also kind of floaty, if that makes sense. And then I want to just say a big love you to the band for deciding to give Ben some solos, especially on this track, because I know fans want Asking Alexandria to go back to being heavy metalcore fuckers, which they probably won't do. We're gonna get a couple like, you know, heavier tracks instrumentally and maybe vocally if we're lucky, but we're not gonna get the old Asking. We're not gonna get the fucking stand up and scream era that we want. Let's all just be honest, like, that's not gonna happen. So what I'm gonna say is, if you keep giving us stuff like this, solos and occasional like heavier vocals, I'm gonna be happy, because it's give and take. We've got to take what we can get given, like, you know. But Alone Again was a very solid choice for your lead single, I will say that. Actually, I think it was the only single. Moving on, we have got the next track, Faded Out, which starts with a solid guitar and drum sound again. Sorry, itch on the side of my nose. And Danny's first verse of I don't want to wake up lately, these days are getting longer, it just feels like I'm going through the motions and I don't know what's wrong with me. I want to try, I want to care, I want to feel alive like I used to. I want to be someone, do something, but it feels a little like I'm sleepwalking. Feels like something that would relate very well to a lot of us in this current era of lockdowns, working from home, things like that. And I'll admit, I really enjoyed this track, and there's like a part in it where Danny almost like takes a step back from singing and raps lines, but or like just fast-paced like shouting sort of thing. It was a nice change of pace that I honestly wasn't expecting on my first listen through when I heard the album. It took me by surprise. I remember sitting on the train and I was like, the fuck? And yeah, and again, solid fucking track. The haters are gonna hate it, but because it's not like, you know, fucking Final Chapter or whatever, but again, better than the last album's stuff. We've got 2 solid tracks so far, and even the intro was fun. Whereas the last one, I struggled to find more than 3 songs I would like to listen to again. I'm being honest with that one. Moving on, we have got Never Gonna Learn, which has an interesting open with almost like a whistle behind the guitars and stuff. And the vocals are a little less rocky, but still work for the overall vibe of the album and the track. Until you get towards the end of the song, where Danny goes for a fairly hard rock belted vocal, which was one of the things, like, you know, that I mean, like, it's not a metal scream, but the hard rock belting vocals, you know, like, sort of thing is acceptable. Like, you know, it's heavy without being too heavy. I have a hair in my mouth. Please fuck off. Moving on, we have the track If I Could Erase It, which has a decent opening verse and a solid pre-chorus, but the chorus is where the song gets the pace picked right up a bit, and it bolsters the entire song out, because I feel this is one of the weaker songs on the album, but it does grow on you over time, which is a good thing. Like, you may not... Sorry. Fucking thing. You may not enjoy it the first listen, but after a good couple of run-throughs of the album, you're like, okay, no, yeah, I get this. I can see why it's here. But yeah, and it's also a solid way to move on to the next track, Find Myself, which has a slow start, but picks up nicely into a good rock track, and the guitar work again is really, really solid in this one, and it fits the tone of the overall song well, and the vocals that we get to see showcased in it. And the lyrics like, how do I kill myself, or the parts that have been created to please, as well as stuff like, I'm so tired of not knowing who I'm supposed to be, I just want to find my way again, is going to be relatable for people, I feel like, again, you know, because everyone has that little bit of them that they've created or manufactured to please others, like, you know, obviously not to the extent of what Danny and the guys are probably talking about, because, you know, they're trying to please the fans whilst also pleasing themselves musically. But that does feel like something I think a lot of people could relate to. But yeah. And also on this track, the outro has a really nice orchestral bit to it, which, if you know me, I am quite partial to orchestral tracks, like, especially in my power metal, like, you know, I love it when, like, Twilight Force or Glory Hammer or Powerwolf or Sabaton, whatever, do like an orchestral version of their tracks, or slap some orchestral stuff in the background, or violins and pianos and shit. It just gives it a grander sound, makes it stand out more, like, you know, it's really a good thing. And to see the guys in Asking using it was fucking cool, honestly. For those wondering, I'm drinking Monster, the Doctor. I'm just getting a little bit of a dry mouth. I should have paused, but who cares? Next track is You've Made It This Far. And that's not a dig at the album. It starts with almost a gang chant of, you know, like the whoa sort of thing, before the vocals kick into action slowly. But it's a good thing, because it comes across as more of an anthem or a love letter to people who might be going through a hard time with their mental health. Like, that's what this song basically is. Like, you know, it's a great track from the boys, and it's probably going to be very appreciated by a lot of people, because the lyrics of it, if you listen to it, I didn't write any down because, you know, I don't want to overdo it. But if you go and look up the lyrics to that one, you'll see what I mean. Like, it, or even listening to it, you could probably get what I'm getting at, like, you know. But anyway, moving on, we have the title track, See What's on the Inside. Starts off with some softer guitars, which has a really nice sound. Especially, like, you know, the slow delivery of the vocals with it, before things once again transform into powerful chorus, solid guitar work, you know, short solo in here again, which Thank you. I like hearing Ben have solos. um, Lines like, to run away from the world, to leave it behind, to strip it away and see what's on the inside. So I'm facing my fears and taking my time to strip it all away and see what's on the inside. It makes for a solid chorus, and it definitely gives you that vibe of self-reflection and, you know, working on yourself, which, as we know, a lot of the guys in Asking Alexandria have done a lot of soul searching, a lot of growing up and getting sober, things like that, compared to their earlier days where they were on hard drugs, lots of alcohol, things of that nature. Moving on, we've got the track Misery Loves Company. It has a very groovy intro, I would say, you know, solid chorus that I personally felt was a good vibe for the closing tracks of the album. And it was overall just an enjoyable song. Like, I don't have too much to say on it. Like, not a standout track, not a completely weak track. It was a good bit to go, okay, we're coming towards the end now. Get ready for what we have in store. Because the final two tracks are where things get good. Or, like, not get good, but, you know, there you go, okay, we're going to pull out a few interesting things here. So moving on to the penultimate song, we have Fame, which opens with, so you want fame, everybody to know your name, which in the influencer age is a good kind of point, and it talks about people wanting an abundance of money and, you know, people to know who they are, but also not wanting to know, like, who they are, sort of thing. Which, you know, being 2021, I know it won't age as well, but a lot of people, if you look, are social media influencers. Either they're making their money off of ads on Instagram, they're doing shit on Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube. Like, I'm not making money off of this, but, you know, hey ho. Twitch as well, things like that. I can't say that I fall into the category of I do it for fame. I do it because I'm just a nerd and I like doing this sort of thing. But yeah, it's also a slightly heavier, grittier sounding track. Very hard rock. Very... yeah, I was looking for another word to use, but yeah, it's just a hard rock, gritty sound. Which moves us on to the last track. The Grey, the final song of the album, has a very good feel for a closing track, and it carries on the running theme of the album. Sorry, I have my hand in the way of my face. Not that you give a shit, I'm not the most attractive thing to look at. Yeah, it carries on the theme of the album of great instrumentation with solid choruses. Like, there's not much more to say about it. It fits the album well. It works very nicely as a closer to the album. You know, it's an enjoyable, solid track. It's not anything special, but it's good to listen to. You could listen to it in part of a playthrough, and you would understand why it's there. You could listen to it on its own and be like, damn, yeah, this is a good song. There was a hair on my mic. So, moving on to my final thoughts. The album is an overall solid and much needed improvement over the last album. And as a long-time fan of Asking Alexandria, I can safely say I wasn't let down by this album like I was the last. And I liked almost all of the songs. Like I said, there was one or two that my first listen to, I was like, okay. But then doing my second and third listen through to write up this review, I was like, oh, yeah, I can understand why this is here. So even if you don't like a song, it will grow on you over time, more than likely. And with that being said, they were all a good feel, and I would definitely recommend you check out this album if you are a fan of Asking Alexandria, if you just like rock music, if you're unsure like and want to get into new era Asking, but this would be a good jumping in point. And I would say if you like this stuff, definitely go back and listen to some of the older stuff, especially From Death to Destiny, which is one of their better albums. Not my favourite album, but a close second. As you all would probably guess, I'm a stand up and scream sort of guy. Final Chapter was one of my first songs I learned to scream along to, or whatever you would want to call it, so yeah. I can't do it as well as I used to anymore. My voice has changed. For me, my standout tracks that I would recommend you go and check out: Alone Again, Faded Out, Find Myself, and See What's on the Inside. Those are the 4 I would take away and listen to if you don't want to listen to the full album. Overall, I would rate the album a solid... See, in my book, I've written down 6.5, which I think is harsh. I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10. I just wish there was some more variation between the tracks, and maybe the album was a little longer. Seeing as it's, just over 40 minutes, like, it would be nice if it was a little longer. But, yeah, with that being said, this review is done. Check out the album, Asking Alexandria, see what's on the inside, and I will see you lovely ladies and gentlemen in the next review. Goodbye.